Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 30th November 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. HARDAN, 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 Haribol, TSV Nectar, NECTAR, Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous, present, and future videos. So let us continue with the topic of discussion for today's video. In the past few videos, we have been trying to analyze the power of mind in the psyche and cerebral faculties of a human living entity, whether male or female, in a lifetime in the material world. We all know by now that you become what you think. Your mind is so powerful that it can send vibrations to the mass of tissue called brain in the gross body of your own layer of material bodies and make you act according to these vibrations, which are processed in the brain and percolated down the rest of your body. Here I would hasten to add that the term mind in this particular analytical subject includes the vibrations from the etheric body of senses, the vibrations from the astral body of feelings and emotions, and vibrations from the causal body of intelligence and logic. You become what you think. That means that your body acts according to the tastes and preferences of the brain regarding selections of vibrations from these three subtle bodies for further processing and percolating down the rest of the gross body. This is the reason why 75% of humanity in the society at any given time reacts only according to the vibrations from the etheric body of senses, which is closest to the gross body of a human living entity, whether male or female. Only 20% of humanity listens to both the vibrations of the etheric body of senses and the astral body of feelings and emotions and mind. And only 5% listens to all three subtle bodies, that is, the etheric body of senses, the astral body of mind, and the causal body of intelligence. This is precisely the reason that 75% of the society of human living entities, whether male or female, at any given time, is mediocre in nature. Only 20% is evolved enough to think with its feelings and emotions, whereas only 5% of the society listens to its causal body of intelligence. This is the reason why we have some mediocre people, or majority are mediocre, some are intellectuals, some are laborers, some skilled labor, some unskilled labor, some qualified doctors, engineers, lawyers, etc., and some great scientists, businessmen, tycoon, shopkeepers, etc., plus a few monks, saints, rishis, maharishis, sages, godmen, etc. This is because of this particular reason why the brain of every human living entity, whether male or female, acts differently in different circumstances. It all depends on the atmosphere surrounding karma, destiny, cerebral faculties, tastes, preferences, whims, and fantasies of various living entities, while they prefer the vibrations that come from the three subtle bodies to be processed by their individual brains, and the juice out of such vibration is percolated down their gross body. This is the reason for the difference in the reaction of various living entities. Their very thought processes depend on what vibration is selected by the brain and what vibration is transmitted by the mind to that brain. If a particular person thinks intellectually, he or she becomes an intellectual. If he or she decides to think only through the vibrations of his or her senses, that person remains mediocre. In the process of analyzing the mind, we have been trying to take up several case histories. In that process, we took up one particular case history about a person of whom I know very well. We are in the process of learning about how this person's mind worked for this person so that he could achieve his purpose in life creatively and positively. We know by now that this person went to through fa- several failures, frustrations, and struggle to make it big as a writer or at least become a successful and published writer. How instead of writing books, he became a book writer in accounts and commerce, which were alien subjects for this man who started as a voracious reader at the age of 10 but had to make do with studying commerce from his 16th year. Anyway, we know by now that when this guy was in his late 40s, he finally did a course successfully in mass communication and journalism and got a job in a channel. When he was working in this channel for the first time, his creative faculties came to the fore, and he had one particular story translated by him from Tamil to Hindi successfully, and his name appeared for the first time in a serial produced by that channel as per the translations of this particular person. We also know how Naukri.com people reacted when he gave his own details to them for them to make a resume for him. Now we will continue further. This guy was not only a voracious reader, but he also had a hobby. Right from his childhood, he was very fascinated with huge, muscular, strong men like Lord Hanuman, Bhima, etc., and he used to listen to their apocryphal stories from in his childhood from his own father and elder brother. This guy dreamt of becoming as strong as Lord Hanuman or Bhima. He gravitated towards an interest for strongmen, wrestlers, boxers, bodybuilders, and such athletes who were very much interested in developing their individual physiques. So much so that this guy developed a hobby of trying to build his own physique, but not to that extent that he would have hoped for because of discouragement from his own father and peers who told him that if he tried to do bodybuilding, etc., he will not be able to concentrate on his own studies. However, you will be surprised to know that when there is a very strong desire in a particular human being, the nature and the universe joins together to to follow this person and attract him to some path which will make him or her achieve that purpose. This guy wanted to be a published writer in the literary world but plus the entertainment industry. While he was struggling to become a writer, one day he came across one senior person who advised him when this guy was around 35 years of age. That man told this guy, if you want to write, stop reading because voracious readers don't write and sincere writers don't usually read. For this person, this was a real shock. As long as he could remember, he had always been just an ordinary bookworm to say the least. Now, when this suggestion came from a senior, he did not know what to do. He could not imagine a world where he would not be able to study. So he asked that senior, in that case, what should I do? That guy said, do you have any hobby like playing cricket, flying kites, or any such hobby which is very different from reading and writing? This guy thought for some time and told him, I was once very interested in bodybuilding. That man said, start trying to build your body, and you will find that slowly but steadily your addiction for reading will be transferred to bodybuilding, and once it is done, you can start writing the knowledge that you have gleaned through your voracious reading for the past 30 years. This guy took this advice and believe it or not, though it took some time for these two things to develop, it indeed happened that this guy gradually slowed down his voracious reading, took up bodybuilding, and later became a successful and published author with a very reputed publishing house. Not only this, his own nephew once suggested to this guy that he should start vlogging in YouTube because till that time this guy was only blogging and writing and doing some sketching, painting, etc. The nephew told him to start a vlog on some subject of his choice so that he may share whatever knowledge he had till then, not only through his books but also through his videos. This guy took that same advice from the nephew and started his own vlog with his own favorite subject, spiritualism. Now you know who I am talking about. This is the story of my own life history. After a lot of struggle, failures, frustrations, tears, and blood, I finally became a writer in my late 40s, published a few novels, books, and spiritual books, and later became a vlogger and have been vlogging ever since. Believe it or not, I am still interested in bodybuilding and I have stopped reading voraciously completely for the past at least 15 years. Something which I never dreamt of achieving. I had this desire to write and to do bodybuilding. Destiny and my own mind conspired to help me achieve this purpose. I was addicted to reading to such an extent that calling me a bookworm would have been an understatement once upon a time. I could never imagine myself without a book or a magazine in my hand. I was such an addict to reading that I was the first in a particular lending library in a book in Dombivli, Maharashtra, to open the shutters of the lending library shop along with the lady who owned that shop. I was so addicted to reading that the owners of that lending library made an exception for me. They usually lent a book or a magazine to anyone once in a day. The name of that library was Abhiruchi Vachanalaya. However, seeing my addiction, they condescended to allow me to take a book or a magazine twice in the day, one in the morning and one in the evening. From such addiction to reading, I took a lot of information on various subjects, including general journalism, plus my own favorite subject of research at that time, namely mystery, crime, and underworld. And later on, when I became totally spiritual at the age of 35, to read spiritual books and scriptures. Believe it or not, God is very great. He introduced spiritualism in my life when I was 35 only through this lending library. Once, when I was searching for a mystery novel, one book called Science of Self Realization by Swami Bhaktivedanta, the founder of ISKCON, slipped at the back of the wall to which the cupboard of books was attached. Intrigued, I looked at that book for the first time. It impressed me to such an extent that my own powerful mind made me gravitate towards that subject. It was a new subject for me who had been doing research only on crime and underworld till then. This is why I said that our mind is so powerful that it can change your life's direction in any possible way that it whims or fancies. There was a dacoit called Ratnakar who suddenly became a monk called Maharishi Valmiki, who is the creator of the Hindu epic Ramayana only because of his own chance meeting with the great monk Narada in Hindu mythology. Similarly, I, who had been thinking only about underworld till then, suddenly turned directions and became spiritual. Though it took time for spiritualism to grow into me. When I became a published author, I wrote spiritual books, and when I started vlogging, I took spiritualism as my favorite subject. In this vlog, we are discussing about the power of our individual mind. In this case history, I have shown you how powerful our own mind is. However, to make this long story short, here I am, a person who has written books on fiction, crime, underworld, assorted subjects, and finally and most favorably and positively spiritualism. When I began vlogging, I did not want to delve on all my other material knowledge which I had gleaned through my voracious reading in the first 30 years of my life. Only after I became an author did I realize that we all have a destiny shaped up for us as a main purpose by God in any lifetime or in a series of births and deaths in this material world. If we have a purpose and we realize what that purpose is, our own mind begins to struggle to achieve the bull's eye of that purpose right from our childhood. I am an example who can vouch for this fact by saying that in my case also, my focus on my own purpose began at the age of, hold your breath, 4. I was only 4 years old when I started thinking about my purpose in life. It was only because of that I became a voracious reader, went through a lot of grind, and finally succeeded in my late 40s to become a published author. Similarly, when I was a child, I got a little myopic and started wearing lenses or spectacles. My only desire was to remove my spectacles. My mother harangued me right, left, and center for thinking about this impossible dream. I wore a spectacle from the age of 16 till the age of 60. That is around 44 years. But my dream came true when I got an operation and had my spectacles removed for good. I had never imagined that I will reach such a stage where I can remove my spectacle. That is the power of mind. Because of my mind and its focus on my myopia, that I achieved this particular stage at such a later stage in life, thanks to my thoughts on this particular subject. Today, I conclude this case history, which gives you an inkling or a glance or a peep into the power of mind. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular case history. Please give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, ideas, and views so that I may blend everything for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.